Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am so freaking excited. I was contacted by the Woomer people asking if I would consider giving a review on their 72 set of colored pencils. At first I was unsure if I should say yes because honestly I might be a little bit of a pencil snob. I do not like to work really hard to get pigment out of a pencil. It hurts my hand, it hurts my wrists, and I prefer to just pay a little bit more rather than purchase something that I'm not going to be happy with. However, I also like a budget brand. I like the Brute Woomer macaron, and I do not need to work really hard to get any pigment out. So that is what I would consider being a good budget brand. So I saw so many positive reviews about the Woomer pencils that I figured, you know what, I have to try them. I have to see if this is a good colored pencil. So I am opening this for the first time. I've left the plastic on. I almost cheated yesterday when I received them to open them, but I pretty much wanted you to have my visceral reaction. I'm also going to swatch all 72 colors, and then I'm going to actually color it in a book. But again, I'm really excited to try them. I've heard a lot of wonderful things about them, so let's see what we get. So this is the Woomer 72 colors. I wish that they had 100. That seems to be my minimum in, I don't like to create a lot of colors like different greens with the yellow pencil and a blue pencil. I like convenience colors, that everything that I want is in a set. So I do find 72 off the bat slightly limiting, but that depends on, I guess, what colors they're including, which I don't know of yet. I use a lot of pinks, a lot of reds, a lot of greens, a lot of blues. Those are my major colors, orange also. So if a set has quite a few of those colors, I'm usually pretty happy. I also do a lot of portrait coloring. And if there's even a fair amount of browns, tans that can go for skin color, I'm also going to consider this worthwhile, even if it has less than 100. So I'm going to kind of balance the 72 against what colors I would normally use. So let's open this up. Hey guys, future me here. I did get some additional information about the Woomer pencils that I'd like to share with you. So stay to the end and you'll find out a few things that are upcoming for the company, as well as a 10% off coupon code if you choose to buy it. I think it was either on Amazon or directly from them. So there's two codes at the end that I'll share. So yeah, so wait till the end of the video. You'll hear some news and you'll get a discount code. Thanks. It came in a padded envelope. Then it had one layer of bubble wrap on it. And it also has this protective layer for probably the color of the tin. Some people may wonder if it gets dinged up in the mail. It arrived perfectly. So there's no dents, no dings, no scratches. So I consider that well packed. So this is the set. It has a lovely, as I said, I color a lot of orange. So it has a lovely orange case. It comes with the sleeve that has the colors in the back. I don't go by this because it depends on where they're printing it, the printing plant, the paper. So I think this is just to kind of show you what's in there. But I like to swatch out my pencils myself. So here we go. Ooh. These are so pretty. I mean, they really are lovely to look at. They come with a glossy, what I'm going to say is a high-end color. I'm not sure how well it matches at the moment. I mean, we could go through that when we're doing the swatching. It has a gold metallic lettering system. There seems to be some kind of barcode here, a bunch of plus signs that, like, I don't know if this is to talk about the light fastness. I know in other pencils, that's what like a star system means. This has some plus signs, 5 plus signs for this particular pencil. 4 are highlighted in gold, 1 is not. I don't know about light fastness, so I can't really tell you very much about it, but right next to it is an oval of gold. Let me see if I could get this in, well, so you can see it. And you can't see it. The writing is in between the gold coloring. Let me see if I could get a lighter pencil if you could see it then. Yeah, see how you see Woomer on one side, turn it around. There you go. That oval of gold, and the lettering is the same color as the barrel. And in this light colored pencil, I could see it really well. In this darker one, no, it's kind of harder to see in the darker. So that might be a problem for some people. In all honesty, I have trouble seeing the writing on a lot of my colored pencils. Usually there's either gold or white, or, it's really just hard to see because I'm sure, I'm going to talk about this again, but it is difficult to find a color that works well with a light color pencil as well as a dark. So that's something that you should be aware of. There is a color number. They seem to all start with WP, I guess that Woomer pencil. And then there's a number like 040 versus, I think it says 465. And then there's a color name. So there is both a color name and a number for you to reference. But they are beautiful to look at. I love the vibrant colors they got on these barrels. And I do like the high gloss. I'm a little iffy about the lettering so far, as the first pencil I pulled out, it was kind of hard to read. But on the lighter colors, not so much. Honestly, it looks like a pretty nice set. I could definitely get some darker skin tones here, but I might consider this. Yeah, I don't think I'm getting very many light skin tones. I mean, I'm going to try this, and maybe it'll work. We have several grays, which, I do like having a warm gray and a cool gray, so I don't want to complain about, oh, there's too many grays, because I do use them. And this is only 72 pencils. If I really, really like them, I think I'm just going to send something back to the woman who kindly sent them to me to just consider larger sets. They're getting positive reviews. A lot of people like 100, 125, 150. So if they can up that. So right now, I'm going to go off camera and put this in an order that I like to have my pencils in. And I'll come back. All right? Okay. I didn't move a lot of pencils around. Like, I didn't look to see what the undertones were in a family of colors, like the greens. Is it a yellow green, a blue green? I didn't do all of that. I just moved some pencils and tried a couple. And so far, I'm impressed. So I didn't sharpen any of these. I know some people criticized me in the video that I did regarding the Castle Arts that I hadn't sharpened every single one of them. I did after that, and it didn't make a difference. But these I haven't sharpened, and I'm already getting a heck of a lot more pigment out than I did with the Castle Arts. So I'm going to actually swatch, and I'll speed right through that, but you'll see what I'm doing. And then we'll talk about how it felt on my Nina cardstock. I printed on the rougher side so the pencil has something to hold on to. I have tried several of the pencils on plain white copy paper when I was trying to figure out whether it was a blue or a purple or a red or a pink. So I've already tried it on that, and that's what I'm saying. I'm getting an enormous amount of color out of them. So let me go through. As I said, this is the rougher side, so the pencil has something to hold on to, but you guys will all watch me swatch all 72 of them, hopefully in a much faster way. Okay, oh my gosh. These are absolute, oh, I forgot to do the white. These are absolutely lovely pencils. Okay, I think you can see them all now. They are so creamy. They are going to give Prismacolor a run for their money. I had absolutely no trouble getting the pigment down on 99.9% of the colors. This cream was the only one that I felt like I had to do more than the 2 passes I was doing for every other color to get like a decent cream out of it. The black also, I had to press harder than any other color to get the pure black. I mean, it's definitely a black pencil, but to get like a really, really dark black, I did press. So those are the only colors that I think I felt like I had to press a little bit more. And for the opposite, there were some reds and some pinks that were so pigmented, I actually had to lighten my hand to get the lightest color. And that's the way I usually do it. I try to go from the darkest dark to the lightest that I can do. And I've mentioned before that I'm heavy-handed, so it's very hard for me to get a very light. But I absolutely will work with these pencils. They are lovely. So as I said, they're going to give Prismacolor a run for their money. I do appreciate the pastel colors, having some pastels. There was a purple one. There's some pinks, a blue, a purple. But even though I might not have every color I want on here, as I mentioned earlier, it is only 72 pencils. I think it's a pretty good range for me, right? I found some light skin tones here. I can do some darker skin tones. Of course, you know, I would put this in a better order than I actually have it. And I might want to try to do a color family chart to see which colors work best together for a smooth transition between colors. So those are all of the, oh no, there is one more pro. I do appreciate that there are not a lot of fun color names. And I'm, you know, putting that in a quotation. I actually do like them sometimes, but I do appreciate that they have like the standard color names, because if you're doing some sort of mixed media, it's really great to know that the salmon pink might match a salmon pink in my watercolor. You know, a crimson will be the same whether it's oil, acrylic, water medium. So like I know where to go in my other mediums to find a matching color to my pencil. So I really appreciate the naming system they have. But on the con side, I don't think you would have seen that I really struggled to see the names in some of these. So I really had to really move this around quite a bit in some of them. So when the colors are very, very dark, it's very hard to see what the name is. Like on this cinnamon, I think it's cinnamon, I could not for the life of me get the number. I just absolutely could not see it. So that is my one complaint about them. So I think this is an issue for a lot of pencils. So it's one that I'm used to and I'm not really, doesn't concern me. So I have one more question, and it's the grays. Like this is a blue gray. Then this says cold gray 4, but honestly, it feels a little warm to me. So I don't know if that's just me, that I kind of see like a greenish gray or I don't know. So the grays are confusing to me because they do seem a little warmer with this cold gray I'm going to think goes with the warm. And that means the blue and the cold gray too might be my only cold grays. I'm not sure. I have to work with it a little bit more than on this tiny little swatch, but I'm a little confused by the grays. But those are the only cons that I have, which is the writing is sometimes hard to see, and I'm personally a little confused by the gray, but that doesn't mean other people are. Overall, I think that this is an excellent set. It's a great starter set, and honestly, if they gave more, it would really be another soft pencil that I would use constantly, similar to my Prismacolor. Some of the pencils actually felt creamier and smoother than my Prismacolors. So that's why I said that I think Woomer is going to give Prismacolor a run for its money, because they are offering this at a much lower price. And that may be now because they're just coming out with their colored pencils. So they're offering it at a lower rate to get people to try them. They may or may not go up in price a couple of years from now. I don't really know. But as they develop more and more colors, and I hope they will, I really think that this is a great soft colored pencil. If you like a harder pencil, this may not be your set, but I think at the price and 72 pencils, you should give it a try to decide on your own if you do or do not like a softer pencil. Because I think that I looked at the price and I think it's on sale for under $40 US dollars on, I don't know if I looked on Amazon or their website. I'll double check that and put across the screen, hopefully I'll remember to do that, of where I did see the pencils under $40 for a 72 set. The last thing was the white. I did that at the last minute. So I blackened it with this Mungian felt marker, but it is black enough for me to try the white over. The white is not very opaque, but I really find that most whites are not completely opaque. So, it isn't a pencil that I use very often. When I use it, I'm using it to lighten a color. I rarely am using it on a black. So for me, this is not an issue. So up next, I'm going to go downstairs and pick a book and try to color with it. And I will color live so you could kind of hear what I'm saying. So guys, I'm gonna be right back and hopefully we'll color together. I've brought 2 books for now. I've also brought whatever watercolor markers I have. I would like to see how the pencils perform in different scenarios. In this book, or in this one, I'm going to try to find a page and see what I'm going to do. I'll try to see what the pencils do when I'm just straight coloring right onto the paper versus over a watercolor marker. Like, let's say I did most of the picture with my watercolor markers and I just want to see if I can get the shadows deeper. So I would go to a pencil to do that. I'd also like to find a book that I'm going to use alcohol marker on and see how the pencils perform over those rather than a watercolor marker. So I'm hoping to do 3: regular straight on coloring, how the pencils perform over a watercolor marker, and the third one, how do the pencils perform over an alcohol marker base. So let me look to see what I have. The first book is Minorizer durch Asian by Rita Berman. And I think I selected this page. So we are going to try to work on this paper. I'm going to start with the tree. Let me see if I have a really light green. This is what I have in watercolor markers. To be honest, I don't really love them, but I can try this limey green, or I could do a bluer. Now let's see if I have, you know what? I might do this bluer one because this light aqua is in the green family here. Also, this light green looks almost identical to this, so I'm gonna try these 2 colors. Yeah, let me try that. Okay, so that's a good plan. 243. Okay, so I haven't mentioned it. Sorry about that. I will be using mostly the Tombow markers. I do have a few others here and there, like, you know, the random super tips, but, you know, I will use whatever brand I need to get the color that I want. So okay, so that's the first color. I do want to let that dry a little before I put a pencil on it. I'm going to try some blues because I often do glass as a blue. And I do have a very light blue. I have a 451 in the Tombows. Okay, here it is. So let me just do some of the glass with the marker first, and then I will, once it's dry, go over the marker with a Woomer pencil to see if I can do any good shading, because that's important to me. I am starting to base my pages more and more. It really helps if I have a pencil that doesn't struggle to go over whatever I put down first, whether it's a watercolor marker or an alcohol marker, you know, so that's kind of important to me now. Okay, I think, well, let me just finish it off. You know, I always think I'm gonna remember what color I used, like even a day or 2 from now, and I never do. So, yeah, okay. Okay, I think I have all the glass, or most of it. Okay, and I think by this time this is dry, so I could try the green, the 2 green pencils I talked about, which was light aqua and light green. So 415 and 420. So let's see. I will use the lightest one to just go over the pencil to add some depth to what's already there. And it is covering the watercolor marker really well. But this is the same color pretty much, so I want to see what happens when I try to do some shadows. Okay. This color is so creamy. It's not the color. The color is going down and I can see it. I'm not sure that you're going to be able to see it because it is so close to the color of the marker. But let me pick it up so you can see it closer. Let me move my light. So you can see it's covering really well. But let me see if I can go even a color darker. So I'm using, I think, 433, which is the turquoise green. Pencil has no trouble going over a watercolor marker. That is really pretty. I mean, I'm doing this really quick, right? I'm not sitting there doing layers at the moment, but I like the way it feels. It's very, very creamy. I like the way it looks. So now I have this, really light blue. I'm not going to go to the lightest, which is Caribbean Sea, because that looks darker, but maybe the cobalt teal blue might go nicely. I don't know if I want to go darker, but let's see. Let's get the number 208 cobalt teal blue out. And here we have it. And just to reiterate, I have not sharpened these pencils. So whatever wax layer is normally on a pencil, it's still there. And this stuff is still coloring beautifully. Yeah, look at that, guys. It's not struggling at all to go over my marker. And again, I'm coloring kind of sloppy right now. This is not what I would do to the page in its final coloring, but just so that we get an idea of what the pencil can do. So, okay, this is pretty successful. It really has no issues with going over a watercolor marker. So let me figure out what I want to do to try the pencil without any basing. I usually do my cat's gray in honor of my cat who passed, but this cat, no, I see it more orange, brown, black. So I don't know where I want to put my orange, if I want the cat to be orange or the spot to be orange. I think I'm making the cat orange. So what do we have? We have vermilion for our shadow, or orange. I could go to light salmon, really, because that kind of looks like a pinky orange, so I could go in that direction. Darkest, mid-tone, lightest tone. All right, so let me try doing that. This is the light salmon. This is my orange. Yeah, and that's vermilion. These are so creamy. They feel so good on paper. It is coloring nicely. I'm getting a fairly opaque look. If I press, I think, and burnish, I think it would be completely covering all of the white, which I think I'm just going to start to do really soon, is just to start pressing. But This pencil might be one of the one that I said I had to do more passes across it to get the pigment. This is really a light color, so I'm having a little trouble with that color, but only that color. The rest are working beautifully. But this is a very soft pencil. It might actually even be softer than Prismacolor. But they are working really nicely here. I don't know if I want to keep working on this because pretty much for the video, I don't need to finish the cat right now. But I am having fun with these pencils, so I'm kind of like, do I just keep coloring? But I don't know if you guys want to see me color this cat completely. Yeah, so it's easy to burnish this pencil. I mean, I'm pressing, don't get me wrong, but you get a smooth burnish, a smooth color. I don't have to work very hard to get the pigment out. It is just flowing beautifully. Actually, it doesn't flow, right? Because it's a pencil, not a marker. But you know what I mean. It is coloring really lovely. I mean, I hope I don't mess this page up because I'm being so sloppy, but yeah, I'm pressing harder with this one color, which was this light salmon, I think. Light salmon. But the rest, unbelievable color. This is such a vibrant cat. I mean, because the colors are coming out so vibrant, but this is one vibrant looking cat. It's really doing quite well considering this is a fairly smooth paper. You know, usually pencil needs some grain to it so it has something to catch on to. But it is doing really well. Okay, now I'm pressing hard because I want to burnish. I'm sorry if I'm shaking the table, guys, because I am pressing quite hard. Yeah, so that's my cat. I'll finish the rest of it off camera because this is just like really testing these pencils on different papers. So in Rita Berman's Asian book, which has to me a pretty smooth texture, like it's pretty smooth, the pencil's working great. This is with no basing whatsoever, and you can see that this is a very, very orange cat, like unnaturally orange. I'm not sure that I should have gone full-blown orange on it, but it looks okay. You know, it's just a fantasy cat then rather than being realistic. It also worked really well over the watercolor marker when I applied the watercolor marker directly onto the paper. Let's see if you can see how vibrant this cat is and how the pencil worked over the watercolor marker. I am going to move this book over to the side. To me, this was really successful. And let me pull out Luna, which has a different paper. Why I selected it. It's just, first of all, it's very smooth. Very, very, very smooth. And then second of all, it's slightly tanned paper, or I don't know, cream colored paper, I guess is the best. So I want to see how well the pencil works on a paper that's not bright white. So I have a whip in here. And it's this double page spread. So I did all the blue. I did this, I think this is watercolor marker. I'm gonna see if I could do the green. I am going to accept that, oh, I'm backing up. I think this is watercolor. I think this is watercolor. So I'm going to accept that I'm not going to get the exact same colors because I don't know what pencils these are. And I didn't write anything down, of course. So I'm gonna try to do these leaves. I have the leaf green, which I think kind of matches my lighter tone. So let me get that, leaf green. Okay, so I have that. And then this is like a bluish green. I'm gonna try hookers. Okay, that's my hookers green. That's my mid-tone. And my darkest color could maybe this deep cobalt green. I don't know, that might be too dark for this, but let's see how that works out. But I think all of the colors I've chosen, I would consider more a blue-green. And let me try sharpening them and see if that makes any difference at all. Okay. I'll be using the Derwent Super Point Manual. Okay, so I have my 3 pencils. They have now been sharpened. So let me just try in the light spot. I'm using a fairly light touch. I want to try to layer these colors now instead of just kind of almost going to burnishing like I did in the Rita Berman book. Okay, let's start a little darker. Okay, I'm going quite light because the pigment in this pencil is quite strong. So I have to lighten my grip or my pressure a little bit more. Sorry I'm not talking, guys, but you know, sometimes don't feel like I could chew gum and walk at the same time, and I'm really trying to concentrate on what my feelings are. And we're going to my darkest color, which is, sorry, the last color was Hooker's Green, and this is Deep Cobalt Green. They are layering quite nicely. I'm not getting that gunky feeling that you get when a paper is just not accepting your pencils and you just feel like it's getting very, very grainy. That is not happening here. It feels quite nice. It feels smooth. It feels creamy. And as I said, it's layering quite nicely. Sorry, I went over the line there. Let me go back over. This is the last one. This is the Deep Cobalt. One more time. I think I overstepped. I was supposed to do this one because I already did the darkest green. And that looks fabulous. I could do another layer on here. I still could kind of see some color, which I will a little later on. I want to see over the watercolor what happens. Let me start with my dark. It feels great going over the watercolor. I don't know if I'm imagining it, but feels a little less creamy because it's going over something that's a bit more textured. That is not to say that that's a bad thing. It's kind of neither here nor there because it is covering everything so beautifully. Yeah, it is going over really nicely. I'm just kind of curious on whether, you know, it really adds a lot more depth to a picture or not. I mean, I guess it could depend on the paper as well. So I don't want to make any final decisions on whether I should base or not base with any pencil right now. I don't know, guys, what do you think? They are both stunning, but yes, I think the answer to that question is, does basing add depth? The answer is yes. And do the colors work really well on the paper from Maria Trolle's book? It does. It works fantastically. I mean, really, really well. Like I said, you could still see some of the grain of the paper here, which you don't see it because here there was no grain because I did the watercolor on top. But if I burnish or press a little harder, which I'm going to do now, I think all of that's going to be gone. I usually like working dark to light, although sometimes I do the lightest color and the darkest color first and then add my midtones after. So it all depends on what I'm coloring and what pencils I'm using. But this is a pleasure. I'm gonna say it again. This is gonna give Prismacolor a run for its money. I really, really, really hope I will text the woman that was kind enough to send me these pencils over at Woomer and let her know that me personally, I would prefer a larger set. I of course understand why they came out with the 72, but I like them enough that I would pay more for a larger set. But that's just me. But I like a creamy pencil sometimes. I appreciate the opacity of them. You know, or how quickly you could get opaque color, where I might have to layer quite a bit with a Prismacolor. So sometimes I really just love working with a softer pencil, you know, based on the paper, based on my mood, based on a million things. But that is it, guys. This is so worth the money that you would spend on it. Absolutely worth it. Especially if you're trying to trade up a little bit. If you know, can't afford $140, because I think that was the latest I saw Prismacolor at, for the complete 125. I think it was like 140 on sale. It's more sometimes when they're not offering a promotion. But as I said, I think I saw this for under $40 right now, the 72 set. So guys, I would grab these in a second. Even if they come out with 150 6 months from now, I'll still think it was worth it because I'll just consider the 72 my extra pencils. I don't know at the moment if they are selling these open stock. I don't know if they have plans to do that. I will put that in my note that, you know, having open stock really makes the difference for a colorist because, you know, we do have colors that we favor. You know, like I said, I like reds, pinks, oranges, yet other people may like purples, blues, and greens, right? So there are different colors that we tend to gravitate for and are sharpening those more and more. So that is a kind of a game changer for me. My preference is to use the colors I love and have open stock available for me. So I will write that down in my memo to her. And I'm just letting you know that at this moment, I actually don't know if they are, and probably something I should have looked up, are available open stock. If they're not, I will request it because I am enjoying working with these pencils quite a bit. The next thing I'm going to go do is go find a book that I am going to use alcohol marker on. So I have to get my alcohol markers out and see how they work over an alcohol marker. So far, I really think it's going to have no trouble at all. It worked so well over the watercolor marker. It worked great with no basing at all. It just takes a little bit of work to get the grain out, but that is true of Prismacolor, Polychromos, or Woomer. You know, the paper grain does show through, and sometimes you have to work on getting it out. That's why I started basing, because it makes it so much faster. So let me go get my next book and figure out what the last test is, which is how the pencil performs over alcohol marker. Be right back. Okay, I brought Creative Haven Village Charm by Teresa Goodrich. I hadn't planned on coloring in this one this month. Yeah, I might just test it and then put this over for July, because I have a lot of books already that I'm planning on coloring in June. So now I just have to pick a page. I don't know if I should just go to the second one or pick something I really like. That was springy, but it's been so hot lately, it doesn't feel like spring anymore. It feels like summer. Okay, I think I'm just gonna pick this page. And because I feel warm, I feel like this poor dog is, you know, hot and just laying down. And I'm bringing my Ohuhu alcohol markers. This is the mid-tone set. As you can see, there are additionals added because I have run out of them and have not been able to get replacements. Although I think I want to just buy a larger set when I can. So we've tested a green, so I don't want to do that. We haven't tested any kind of brown. I don't think I like any browns in this set. Guess I could do terracotta, or I could do terracotta on the house. YR5. Okay, this is YR5 terracotta. Do we have test pages in here? No, we don't. So it may come out darker than I would want it to come out, but let's see. Let me just try doing this pole in brown. No, that's nice. That's a nice door color. Okay. And I just lost my page. Ah, here we go. Okay. Okay, so that's basically our door. So we have it an orange brown, which is similar to this cinnamon actually, but I don't think that will make it darker. All right, I don't know what color to use. Let me get the cinnamon out, but again, I think it's too close to the terracotta, but there isn't a dark orangey brown, but I could just use a burnt umber and then color over that again with the cinnamon so that it blends more seamlessly. So let me get these two colors out because I think that's the next darkest one that I would use. Van Dyke Brown I could use as well, but I think I see a little bit more orange there. So there we have what I think is cinnamon, but that was one of the ones so hard to read, I don't even have the number. And then burnt, here's burnt umber. So let me sharpen them both. Again, I am not feeling I am not feeling any difference between when it is sharpened and right out of the box. So let me just, I'm sorry guys, I'm gonna move this book sideways because it's easier for me to color. And I will get it right back up. There we go. Yeah, I just had to check that I'm on camera. So I'm just adding some shadows where I think they would be. And I haven't colored a lot with any one color, but I haven't felt the need to sharpen. You know, it's not wearing down so much that I need to sharpen it a lot. But again, I haven't done a whole page, right? So, but so far I really like the way the dark is working. It is certainly covering. This cinnamon is lovely. I mean, it really is a pretty color. And it is matching my Ohuhu color so much, it looks like they were made together. And I don't feel the need to color every single thing. I'm gonna leave some of the lighter parts of just the marker without the pencil on top. The pencils are blending nicely together. I am getting a warmer glow to my burnt umber when I go over it with the cinnamon. So I think it's adding a nice texture as well. You know, I'm not really pressing very hard. So sometimes I don't do that. I leave some of the grain because that helps me make it look more like wood. So guys, that is such a lovely colored door. That came out so well. Let me get it up close. I hope you can see it with the light, but it is lovely. So thumbs up, well done, Woomer. These pencils are awesome. They are a fantastic budget pencil. I'm going to say that this is going to be higher than my favorite budget pencil, which is the Brute Funer Macaron. That's the only budget pencil I work with. Yeah, this is, I'm so excited, guys. I mean, this is an alternative to Prismacolor for me. And Prismacolor is more expensive. You know, I could buy a whole new set for $40 instead of just 35 pencils, right? Because I think it's like $1.35 to $1.40 US if you're buying one pencil. And that's not in store. In store is more expensive. I'm talking if I'm ordering like a restock of my pencils on Blick.com. And I think they're like $1.38 the last time I ordered. They may be higher, they may be lower now, I don't know. But I could buy a whole new set for less money than replacing a third of my Prismacolor. So, you know, this is great. But again, I am going to stress how important it is to most of us, maybe not all of us, but most of us, that they offer open stock. Because I could see using these pencils a lot, guys. Yeah. So I am going to, you know, go off now. I think you guys know that I've been gushing quite a bit for these pencils. I really, really like them. Again, they're giving Prismacolor a run for their money. And the only con that I can see really is a little hard to read these labels, but that's kind of like a minor con. The only con I really see affecting me is whether they are open stock or not. And guys, I think you should grab a set before they start getting more expensive, if they will. I don't know. I have not really communicated with Woomer except for to say that I would do a video, that it would be an honest video. But at this time, I really love them. So thumbs up, guys. If you are on a budget and you want a softer pencil with a lot of pigments in it, try picking up a set of the Woomer pencils. Future me back again. I did communicate with Zoe from Woomer, and she has confirmed that they are in the works to release a 120 pencil set in the future. There's no definitive date at this time. There are also plans for open stock, which is really, really exciting. I do not know which they're going to do first, if they're going to wait to offer the 120 set first and then, move on to the next phase, which would be open stock orders. I'm not sure about the date on that either. And there are some, you won't be able to read my writing, but there are 2 discount codes for 10% off. I don't know how long it lasts, but if you want 10% off, you could either buy it directly from the Woomer website or go to Amazon. When I checked it the other day, Amazon was more expensive than directly from the Woomer website, but you should check your country, your state, your local, whatever, to find out which is the better deal for you. But I did list below in the comment section both coupon codes for 10% off. So that's it from Future Me. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate the time we've spent doing this. Okay, bye now.